Hi. Today's story is about the movie theaters of Teluk Intan, my hometown. We used to have a few theaters, about four or five, I think, like Rex, Cathay, Capitol, Majestic, and one more in the Great Wall Park. Anyway, it was in the 1950s. It was very popular, very popular. So the giants of the movie, those days were, Cathay Organization and the Shaw Brothers. Okay, there were a lot of westerns. Different theaters showed different movies. Like for instance, Capitol was very popular with westerns, and uh, and so was Cathay, and the other like Rex, probably Indian shows and Malay shows. But Indian and Malay shows, there are not many. There are a lot of westerns during our time, like David Crockett, High Noon, those Gary Cooper and all those things. And then Capitol Theatre was very popular with cheap matinee. We had to pay 40 cents. Cheap matinee means Saturday, 11 o'clock. Okay. So those were exciting days. When I was very small, I was staying near the theater. We tried to get in, we would stand by the door. We are under 10, and we tried to get those elders to take us in. Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. Anyway, those were days I would notice, those days, if you have a good show coming on, the theaters would be packed. It would be packed. It would sell. I don't know how much it was. Probably more about $1, I think. Yeah, okay. So if there was a good show in town, for instance, like High Noon, the show would be running, so they had limited film reels. So simultaneously, they could have a show running, in Ipoh, Kampa, and Talansan same time. So what they would do was, if the show had finished screening time in Kampa, probably in the afternoon, they would rush the reel, using a van, driving a van to Kampa, the next town or Ipoh. And then by the time it comes to Lensan, it could be midnight, a midnight show. That's why they have this kind of agreement, sometimes midnight. To me, when I sat down, could see people running up, the van coming to a screeching halt, and the guy running up with the two wheels, from the back door. Usually, I go by the back door, you know, and those films are quite new. It was very interesting when of course, the seats numbered, but there was one theater, Majestic Theater, mostly Chinese show, and the seats are not numbered. You have to buy your ticket and go in early. And if you want to book your ticket, what we did was we tie our handkerchief to the bench. There was a long bench, but it's divided into, the apartments for people to sit with the armrest. So we tied the handkerchief to the armrest. It was 40 cents. But Majestic was popular with Chinese shows. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So the theater was demolished in the maybe in the 70s to give way to new buildings. All right, but the rest of the movie theaters were left alone standing. But of course, like certain theaters have been like today, because they have been yeah, they have stopped viewing because of internet. They are cannot compete with this internet. There are new movie shows in town, but I do not know if Telenson has got this kind of movies like we have in KL. But most of the buildings were left abandoned, derelict. Especially the capital where I stay is all bare. You look at it in almost like in a block of, almost like a haunted building. But certain like Rex and other movie theaters, they're converted into shopping, shopping centers, or or something else. I don't know. But they are decorated. Of course, they were rented out, but no more movie theaters, not even an opera house. So the buildings are there, well, where some say it's an eyesore, but it's a small town, so I think it was, yeah, it's being left as it is. It's quite sad when you go back and look at it. It's just like, I just remember the old days. When we go for a show, there'll be so many people, standing around, rushing for tickets, especially for tickets. I have also had my fair share. We rush for tickets, come out, torn shirts and bruises. There was no line up, no queue. The strongest gets the ticket. That was terrible. We saw a lot of shows, when we rushed for the tickets, and a lot of people were selling things outside. And after the show, there will be people, coming out, especially it's eating stalls around there, plenty, Anson, packed full of people. And my house, my uncle's house, we rented a space for bicycles. Every bicycle that comes in, we take care. We give them a card. Yeah, give them like a kind of, yeah, metal number. That's right. Okay, at 10 cents a bicycle. So I watch over the bicycles, doing a good business. Very, my grandmother was doing it. Good business. So those were the days, the heydays of Atla Anson in the 50s and 60s, until it was overtaken by progress. It couldn't compete with the internet thing. So many things being seen online, and the new movies. So I don't think Lanson has any of these movies. All right. So the buildings that have seen his days of glory are left abandoned, and it's very sad. But in older towns, it's even worse. It's even worse. So they couldn't. They try to convert it something else, because for a theater to be converted or into something, it is quite difficult. It is quite difficult. Unlike, for instance, like a high court, those things you can convert into dwelling houses. But this is just a hollow, a big building. Inside you'll be, just like it's an opera thing. See, so you have to spend a lot of money to renovate. So after all, they know the attraction is not that great in Talenson, small town, few 100,000. So it was left as it is. So yeah, each time I go back, I would just ponder and take a moment, and watch them, and then try to think back the days and hang around there for a little while. Take a few pictures. Yeah, well, those were good old days of the theater at Lanson. So as well in other places. Okay. Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye bye.